because of me!
Hi, I'm Doc Owen with Action Figure Times. Hope you've been enjoying Legion Week. We're really trying to look out for you, the folks, so that you know whether to spend your $180 on this 12-pack. For me, it's a no-brainer. I really like it. I really like the Legion, and so I'm going to do it anyway. But, you know, times can be difficult for people, and I want you to be able to, here at Action Figure Times, we want you to be able to really look at the figure and tell whether or not do I really want to spend my money on that. Today we're going to be looking at Jonah of Rimbor, otherwise known as Ultra Boy. Now, Ultra Boy, he was piloting his speedster through space. He got swallowed by the Ultra Energy Beast. The energy transferred into him, and now he is Ultra Boy. He's got powers levels on kind of the same level as Superboy. However, he can only use one power at a time, transferring the Ultra Energy from one power to the next. The figure basically is very cool. Oh, by the way, about Jonah, he's actually named after the biblical person Jonah, you know, of Jonah, what most people consider Jonah in the whale, who was also swallowed by a large fish, just the way Jonah was. And so came out of it a different person, and basically a different person, and so does Jonah. So basically, to me, this is kind of an amalgamation of the different uniforms, of different ways that the uniforms has looked over the years, because the belt's really not a regular color. There's some other things hopefully I'll remember to talk about when we're looking at him up close. That's actually supposed to be the Ultra Energy Beast there on his uniform. To me, I always thought it was like a Native American Thunderbird. That motif has continued onto his boots. They did a very good job with the scalloping down here across the bottom. I hope they continue. Excuse me. I hope they continue to do something with the Legion, and you know, somebody we need now that we have Ultra Boy. We need the Phantom Girl. So you know, because he gets bummed out, you know, when she's not around. Speaking of bummed out, obviously she must have been somewhere close by recently, because he's got this weird grin. I think it's a great head sculpt. We'll talk about it in a minute, but they've got to do something about these mouths in the future. They can't make them look, I mean, like somebody shoved a corn cob up their rear and oh my gosh! You know, that just doesn't work. I just don't get it. Now, but all in all, he's a very good representation of the character, and I do like him. Speaking of great characters, though, probably one of my favorites of all time is the Karate Kid. Now, the Legion, I have a couple favorites. Karate Kid is definitely one of them. Now, they've got his collar. I'm so glad they went with this representation of the character. If they'd have gone with one of the reboots, or even with his original uniform, I really would not have been real happy. I really like this uniform. I think when I think of Karate Kid, this is the way that I think of him, wearing this outfit. Now, again, they're doing something now with the lats that I'm really not fond of, and it's apparent to me with this figure is they're kind of giving them the lats of like the Masters of the Universe guys, so their arms can't go down, and it really limits the posability, and I think that's a true bummer. Now, this is soft plastic down on his doba, or gi, depending on, I guess, which art he's portraying at the time. He's got these huge biceps, so he knows he has to keep up with the superpower guys. Gauntlet looks good. Now, one thing is they chose one of the more modern looks for his face. I understand, because you know his father was a Japanese crime lord, and his mother was a secret agent. But she was more what we would consider of more Caucasian features, and I always liked the way he looked growing up. But I can understand why they did this, and I certainly am not going to beleaguer it, but I kind of wish that they'd kind of stuck with the faces, you know, like you've got. I mean, if he's going to wear this uniform, to me, he should have looked the way he looked kind of at the beginning. But I guess in the more recent years, he's worn this uniform and looked this way. So he looks good all the way around. This is flexi right here, so you don't have to worry about breaking it. He's got his the boots that he had on. He cannot, which I think is one of the weirdest things, is this tunic should have been a little bit more flexy, because if he's the Karate Kid, he ought to be able to at least kick higher than that. right? He ought to be able to sidekick higher than that, which I think for this figure, really for me, is a tremendous bummer. But there is something cool that I do want to show you. Probably, I was trying to remember who it was that customized this, but this is probably one of the greatest customs ever for me. Now this is a Karate Kid that I bought off the internet. And so, you know, I know when you make a figure one at a time, you can put some things. Now this is a hard plastic collar. He does have a fist. That's one thing that I think was missing from him. Not a fist, but I think he was missing, I wish he had the karate chop hand and things. But this custom, actually, he's made from a Marvel Legends, and so he's able to move around a lot more. His tunic is on there. This is probably very cool, and he's got really what I consider one of the more traditional features, and he can do all sorts of, you know, karate moves and things like that. But all in all, I think that Mattel did a good job. I like my custom better, but I really like the guy who did it anyway. So, but this is a very, very good figure, and you're going to enjoy looking at him close up, which is coming up next. So here we are looking at Val Armour up close. Make sure you come to the website. You can see some comparison shots between him and my custom. I think this is a, you know, if they're going to make him one of the more recent incarnations, I think they did a good job. There you got a good, this is nice and flexy here. Uniform looks good. This is flexible enough. He can Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is a must for one of these martial artists, but he's not going to be able to front kick very well. Boots look good. Gauntlets look good. You can see them good from the back. It says made in China. That might be a bit of an insult to Val, considering he's more Japanese, and sometimes they don't always get along the best. But all in all, this is a very, very cool figure, and I'm very, very grateful to get him. Okay, so here we are looking at Joe up close. You can say, look, he looks kind of like a chipmunk there. Sideburns are very, very cool. Those teeth, I mean, making them look like a chipmunk, I don't get it. They did a good job styling his hair. You can see, nice uniform, looks good. I wish that they'd have stuck with something a little bit more traditional, but that's okay. He's got his Legion ring going on there. The boots are a great part of this figure. They did a good job on those. They do have, you know, they've got standard articulation, which is fine. But all in all, these guys look great.